Hello and welcome to the channel, or welcome back if you are so inclined. In today's video, we're taking a look at these, the Edifier G2 Mark IIs. Now these things retail for somewhere between $40 and $50 US, and I do want to thank Edifier for sending these out for review. It won't make any difference to the outcome, but let's check them out and see if they're any good. Now in terms of the audio, this headset is sporting a pair of 50mm drivers, which is all very good, with a frequency response of somewhere between 20 and 20,000 Hz. Again, all very nice and standard, and the impedance of these is 32 ohms, so if you are gaming on the go, on your laptop, you could power these without the need for wall power. The battery would suffice for these, which is all very good. But how does that translate into actual sound? Now the tuning on these is definitely given towards gaming. This is a gaming headset after all, so the mids and the trebles are really quite pronounced, but that's not to say that the bass isn't there. It's just kind of kept at bay and still sounds rather natural and gives a nice creamy texture to the lows, which is all very, very nice. Now in terms of listening to music, it's not a bad experience, but the volume isn't necessarily that loud. That's probably to try and rein in the tuning itself of the drivers, which again, isn't necessarily a bad thing unless you like ear blistering noise coming through the headset. Now, when you do have these on full volume in gaming, the bass is definitely there. You can hear it. There's nothing about this that becomes overly fatiguing on the ears. You can just feels a bit washed out towards the low end. Now in FPS games, for instance, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Footsteps from whichever side in the stereo were very, very pronounced, which is all very good. Now the 7.1, however, when you're using FPS games, don't use the 7.1 for it. It's not quite there. If you do use Dolby Atmos on these, it does translate quite well. But honestly, I'd save that for more environmental games. If you're playing something along the lines of Tomb Raider, for instance, the 7.1 does give exceptionally good environmental audio. But when you're in a fight, for instance, and the camera's rotating rather fast, it's kind of difficult for these to keep pace. But I'd always recommend using stereo anyway. Now, as I said, the audio isn't that bad. I was rather surprised at a headset that costs $50. It's more about the design. I like the cat ears. I put them on just because I'm very fond. I'm very, very fond. In terms of the audio, for what the price is, these are very, very good. I'll give it that. Like I said, don't compare this to something in the £300 range. It's 6 times the cost. It's not going to be there. But the quality is definitely not 6 times less. That's the thing to bear in mind. But there we are. The audio, not so bad at all. Not so bad at all. So this is the microphone test. Now I've got the microphone without the pop filter on, and it's only about 2 fingers width away from my actual mouth itself, and I'm recording this direct into OBS. Now I have changed one setting, and that's the line in volume. I've got reduced by half a decibel, so it's at negative 0.5, but that's pretty much it. This is just clean and going in. Personally, I find this microphone very, very good, and I will test it in a moment with the pop filter on, but for a $50 mic, there we are. So let's check it out with the pop filter now. And look, this is what it's like with the magnificent pink pop filter on. Now it is quite difficult to get on, but once it's on there, it's definitely on there. But as you can hear, it does take away a bit of the pops, and it doesn't get rid of much of that natural sounding audio that comes from this mic. And I am remarkably surprised at the quality of a microphone like this. I know that it is wired, but compared to some other headsets that I've used that are also wired, they don't necessarily have a mic that sounds this good. Now I should also point out that on the inline controls, the red LED indicator actually means the mic is active and on, which is counterintuitive. Normally red would mean muted. I'm sure that would be better if it was a white light. That's the one recommendation I would definitely give with these. But overall, I'm surprised with the microphone. I think it's very, very good. And I'll do a quick typey test, but please bear in mind, this is a Logitech G915 and it's using blue clicky switches, but I'm not going to type anything specific. I'll just give you an idea of how it sounds. There you are. There we are. And I should also mention, I hope the camera can pick this up. It's really rather nice. It's kind of classy. I don't like RGB on headsets normally, but this is quite a mild, subtle use of it. And it is rather attractive. And you can just turn it off with this switch here. But there we are. For me, I feel that this is a very, very good microphone. For a $50 headset, I'm rather surprised at just how natural and well this comes across. But let me know. Sound off in the comments below what you think about this microphone. Well, there we are. From me, very good. Now in terms of the build quality of this headset, it is predominantly plastic, but that's not necessarily without its advantages. On my scales, all in, including the mic and the cable, this thing came in at 281 grams. Now that's kind of light, and it does make it very easy to remain comfortable. Now going over this, we'll start at the top. We've got the obligatory branding across the headband, as we see with all headsets these days. And like I said, with it being predominantly plastic, there is a lot of flex to it, but it does just snap back to its original place. And yes, you could probably snap these if you put the effort in, but that would take a bit of effort and deliberateness. But they are okay, they're fairly sturdy. Now on the underside of the headband there's a slight amount of padding. I wouldn't describe this as generous, and it's definitely not a memory foam from the feel of my thumbs. However, like I said, with this being so light, you probably don't need a great deal there. At the bottom of the headband itself, we do have the extension arms, and there's no marking on this, so you can't just go back to that same size. However, they're very easy to use. But with these being, again, quite plasticky, you can feel a bit of grittiness as you try and move this into place. Now, just on the inside of where the latch is, there is a bit of metal just to add that rigidity to it, which definitely does help. Coming down from there, we've got the ear cups. Now, on the left-hand ear cup, we do have the microphone attached, and it is a detachable microphone, and there is a bit of keying on the side of it. Now, that's a good thing because it stops this twisting when you're using it, which is all very lovely. On the outside of the ear cups themselves, you've got this little bit of metal here, this rose gold trim around the side, and then this pink metal grille on this specific design. I don't think it's pink on the black headset. However, it's kind of nice, but it does give the impression that these are an open back headphone, and they are definitely not. These are definitely closed back. Now, on the inside of the ear cup, where the padding is, this does feel a bit more like a memory foam. There's not a great deal to it though, however, but the leverette itself does feel rather plush and rather nice around your ears. And again, with the lightness being there, you can't really feel these on your head, which is very, very good. On the inside of the ear cup itself, you've got a bit of material over the plastic driver housing. Now, there's no padding there, but it is a bit of depth, and my ears did a little bit just get on the inside of these. But as I said, they're quite a comfortable headset just because of the sheer lightness of it, which is all very, very good. Now, although the microphone itself is detachable, sadly the cable is not, but it is this lovely pink rubber. There's no braiding, but it's a very good match. It's slightly different than the pink of the headset itself, but it's close enough. You can't really notice it. And on the actual cable itself, you have this inline sound card, which is very, very good because it is a USB connector. And on here, you do have the mute switch, which is all very lovely, and you do have a little switch here just for the RGB, which is all very cool. Now, I do like the feel of the switch. It does have a big click to it, but there's not a great deal of travel, which is unfortunate because I like a good sturdy switch. And there is an LED indicator just to let you know whether or not you are in fact on mute. But overall, with the build, with this being a $50 headset and it being predominantly plastic, it does feel kind of okay. You've got to get your head around the lightness, because usually when you're thinking quality, you think something heavy and dense. But when it comes to something you're wearing on your head, lightness is usually the way to go. But there we are. Not too bad in terms of the build. Quite impressed. So what do we get in the box of this $50 headset? Well, honestly, not a great deal, as expected, which is kind of good. Now, the main things that we do get in here are the paperwork. Now, what's remarkable about the paperwork, the only bit in English on the front just says, warning, exclamation mark, which is kind of enticing to read. But I will not. I don't like paperwork for headsets. Waste of trees. We do also get this, the pink pop filter for the microphone itself. Now, this is quite a difficult pop filter to put on, as the hole is very much smaller, about half the size of that of the mic, but it does stretch and it does go on okay, just takes a bit of effort. We also get these, my favourite part of this headset, the cat ears. Now, unlike the Razer headset where they do clip on, these do have some 3M double-sided sticky tape just to stick it to the headset itself. If you get them wrong, however, you can just add it again. You do get some spares. So thank you very much to Edifier for adding spares to the headset itself. But as you can see, there's not a great deal that comes with this, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. There's no wastage there. There's no wasted overhead to up the price of the headset or anything like that. You just get the nice bits that you put on, and this is predominantly plug and play. But there we are. What's in the box? Not a great deal, but it's all rather functional. Kinda. So in conclusion, would I recommend this $50 headset? Well, if you're in the market for a headset for PC only, then yes, I probably would. I urge you to bear in mind these are not compatible with console and they're not compatible with Mac. The box itself says PC only, so that's what we'll go with. But yeah, for $50 in this price bracket, the other headsets I've tried are not quite to the quality of this, especially on the audio. Bear in mind for music, you could probably get better headphones for $50, but they won't come with a detachable mic. That's just the way that these things are. And they have cat ears. Absolutely epic. I do want to thank Edifier again for sending these out, especially with the cat ears, as specified. Absolute kudos to that. But if you did like the video, do leave a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you did not, you won't be able to see the thumbs down because YouTube and reasons. I'm not sure why. There will be an Amazon affiliate link in the description below. I do get a kickback should you buy anything on Amazon after going via that link. But there we are, everyone. It's a yes from me. But have a nice morning, noon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Goodbye. There's cat ears. Honestly, this is my favourite part of the review. I just wanted to put the ears on. I'm not measuring. I'm just going. I'm just assuming I'm a professional and going with that. Part of me thinks that all headsets should come with cat ears. Why not? How close am I? I don't think that's lined up properly, but we're going to go with it anyway. We're close enough, I think. How do I look? I like them. I like them. They're beautiful. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?